So today I'm recapping a period of around 1 year, running from August, the beginning of August 2023 last year to now. I do this so that we can not forget things that need to be remembered, and also because some of these things are still subsisting, probably even beyond this year. Okay, so the first part of this period started with a revelation of a spirit that, or a principality that began the period. And this is a principality representing love and nurture, but it's still a principality, a prince, and a power that was going to take over the season. Followed shortly by the release of attacks or attacking spirits. But one of the most definitive moments I had around this time was something that was revealed about how principalities do hold on to power. So the Lord revealed that, for example, there was a king in one place. Let me find the place that I read, that he wrote it down so that I can read it verbatim. So I titled this this revelation as the immortal one. So the story was that there was a king who kept morphing throughout history, and getting the throne severally down history. And you'd ask how this would happen. The reason why this would happen is that he would, especially considering the short span of man, obviously if there was somebody who was outleaving everybody and ruling, year come in, season come out, every generation, of course it will attract the attention of the ruled. So this is what I wrote about it, that the man will become king, and after the season passes, he'd pretend like he was human to not get noticed. He'd live the years of man and disappear, only to reappear at another time at the right place. So that's where culture comes into play. So he appears at the right time, at the right place, then where the culture would select him as the rightful person for the throne. And this would enable this principality to become king again. This was also like a narration, and the narration went on to say that this same principality also came in form of even a different race, a black race, twice. Now, I do not know of any recorded history where this is actually written as happening. So this is just what I wrote down, because and this is in relation to a very famous kingdom that's persisting even until now. So it will be black, white, then black. That's all I knew. And when I was going through these motions and this understanding, I could picture a man with he was a tall blonde man with long white hair, who was the king at the time in which this revelation was consolidated. So during the same period, I also had a lot of revelation about personal attacks. There are people out there who believe that they have power to reverse my standing with God, or to cut short my assignment. And I don't know what I would say about this, because it's not something that worries me, but it's something that should worry you, because you don't know what I'm here to do. And if you stand in the way of what God has put me here to do, you're standing you're standing before God, basically, and you will not escape his attention. Let me say that. Still the same month of August. And this, I must say, is giving intensity in the kind of revelations that came through. And this is another one, still same month of August last year. And I titled this Favor for Tasks. So I was in a place, and I could see that the grace that the place inhabited was a good grace. It was had kindness, and there were in this place there were individuals, and there were some people who are encouraged to do certain actions. And these actions were not beneficial to them, but beneficial to taskmasters who gave them that those duties to perform. So this brought to those people who are performing those tasks, it gave them favor and peace with the taskmasters, and it also gave them the taskmasters got favor out of the actions of these people. So if you're in this position where you're working at the behest of a taskmaster, I would encourage you to do it knowing that God can see, and He's the ultimate rewarder. Even if it's giving favor to those who have delegated it to you, there's still a favor that's coming through and finding you. So it's not going unrecognized. This one concerns, I believe, it concerns especially Kenya and the places around it, because this is a place that's quite common in my dreams in respect to the nation at large. So I was on a hill, yes, on a hill, and on the hill, and this is a theme of preparation which has been repeated severally throughout the last year, throughout this season that I'm talking about. There's been a continuous thread of people knowing what's at hand and actually preparing for it. So I'm happy when I see these kinds of dreams. So I'll read what I wrote so that if anybody would like to get something else, they can. So when I was at this place, I saw a hideout. It's a hilly place, and also which is a dwelling rural place off the grid. So I saw a hideout built for some apocalyptic kind of use, and in it had stored all kinds of non-perishable foods. It was hidden in the gullies. It was a lot of preparation. Other people that I could identify were present, but I also understood that I wasn't there to stay. I was just visiting. I avoided showing the place to a certain somebody that I thought would waste the things that were being prepared for future use. So comment, avoid wasters. Don't show wasters your hideouts when it comes to preparation. I planned later to tell this person in case it came to that thing that they were preparing for. Now these are the comments I made concerning the what these people were preparing for. That after the change, the people were affected and were clearly awaiting doom, either in climate or economy, but it's something that would affect their ability to produce or to have sustenance, hence the preparation. I could also see that this was a place that was frequented very much, and people had started packing and moving out. So the place was going to be deserted. Remember, I said that this has come to be a very important place in relation to a lot of the surrounding regions generally, and especially for Kenya. I believe I'll get to this later, but in my last few videos, which I was speaking about, I titled it as "We Are Under Attack." That happened in the same area, so this is why I'm telling you that it's a significant revelation, and it's related to that one. So throughout this season, I kept having dreams about the same power that I started with in various kinds of positions. Sometimes it will be sometimes it will be hostile, sometimes it will be needing help, sometimes it will be in various kinds of predicaments. And also along with it was the remembrance of the theme of the theme of a coming disaster, especially and preparation. I found this one very interesting, especially because it was in reference to culture. Okay, so I titled this severally, but the most important title I will put on it is the cost. So there was a young man, a youth, and this young man had a group which was composed of his fellow youth. Also, there was a politician who promised to supply water to the people. The water could be fetched, but there was a cultural thing that he was expected to give back in terms of money to the society from where he was getting the water. So these young men, because they had power and they had this, they could get away with it. They just took the water and disregarded the community from which they were getting the water. So they were confronted by people who were in charge of the culture, the keepers of the culture of the community where this was happening. And remember, the leader was probably from the area, not wrong. Even the people taking were probably also from the area, but they disregarded giving back to the community. So when these keepers came and confronted this youth, they told this keeper that, no, we don't have money for the money that you're asking as payment for this resource that we're taking from you. Remember, he was also giving it back to the local community. So the problem was the tradition and the culture that was supposed to be followed to take that resource, and also to do it with respect to certain, and this is the understanding that I had got, that the community had established a certain way of doing things in a bygone era that had been forgotten by the current generation. So these boys said, no, we cannot pay the cost for this resource. And the keepers revealed that this boy would face the consequences, which were in form of a curse for disregarding the cost that had to be paid to take resources from this community. So, and this is something that we need to be careful with when you're in a community, or when you're interacting with a community, and they're telling you that we don't do this because it was just passed down hundreds of generations through our grandparents and people who are no longer here. They know that we should not do this, and sometimes it could be a very simple thing. Some African traditions would call it a taboo. Or they will just call it as just culture. For example, in my culture, in my tribe, I was told that when a person is being buried, water should not touch the ground. You can imagine what a task that can be to ensure that water does not drop to the ground. And remember, it's a culture that cooks during this ceremony. So how exactly do you go about controlling thousands of people or hundreds of people who are attending this burial ceremony from dropping water on the ground. But if you go in the past, you may find out the cause or the source to be an oath that somebody, maybe your great-great-great-grandfather, went before God and told him, made a conditional covenant, and told him that if this happens, this and this on our part, this and this, we will ensure that to show our gratitude, this will never happen amongst our people. So be careful when you're going to places. You may attract to yourself battles that you may not be aware of by violating things that people believe in some of these areas to be things that must be done or must not be done. So that's one common source of bondage that I appreciated learning about this past year. But sometimes you could attract to yourself consequences, spiritual consequences that are not intentional or do not seem that serious in our modern day era of legalese and laws and all kinds of modernity that disregard our past and look down on our past grandfathers and grandmothers. After this, still in the month of August, like I said, August was very intense. So still August, I had this dream where a house was being repaired or refurbished because the first builder had done the job, but not the finishing wasn't as smooth as it could have been. So a new mason was hired to do the smooth finishings that weren't as pretty as they could have been. So this house was the house in which the president of the country lived, of our country lives, and as this was happening, the president had an engagement with the press. So the president had an engagement in the same area with the press, but things were different this time. There was more protection from the president, and there was more apprehension, and therefore more features were taken to secure him. So he was seated behind a bulletproof glass enclosure, and he was so far during this address that some of the press were using the binoculars to have a clearer picture of him. So from this I got great news that because this is a person of stature, not just naturally but spiritually, if his house is getting refurbished, remember we're inhabiting his energy because he's our president. So this means that there will be a change in the energy, which I believe is a good thing. The rough edges will be smoothed out, and what isn't very pleasant to the eye right now will be beautified. However, there'll be a change in relation to his relationship with or his availability. He'll be more careful and more distant, and this is basically what I got. So basically the president's dream, the biggest takeout is that the media should look forward to a more apprehensive or distant. You will no longer be as, the president will no longer be approachable to you as he has been in the past. Also, this was a different date, but not so close to the previous one, not so far. So this was also the takeaway that I got from it is to expect more that the Ministry of Interior will be making more use of the military in the country for because of security issues. Okay, something that I also learned during this season is this is not a dream, is to avoid meats, which even meats that you can buy in the butchery, especially the internal organs. actually meat just generally. So this happened that there was a butchery close to where I lived. It was being, and this is in a very witchcrafty community. They serve many gods, and they serve other things that are not gods. They practice very negative spirituality and harm at any chance. Even without a chance, they just seek to harm. So one day I went and bought some meat from a butchery, and as soon as I just cooked it very well, spiced it, put all kinds of things in it, and that night the house was invaded by darkness that I saw in some kind of a vision, that there was a thick cloud inside the house. It was like a hanging cumulonimbus cloud inside, only it was very dark and black all the way to the kitchen and just filled the house. So this thing stayed for a while, and during that time I had a lot of spiritual attacks, and I came to the understanding that when you are in some kinds, you can survive without meat, and if you have to buy meat that has been processed using if it's in Africa, we usually have vets, we usually have slaughterhouses. If you cannot verify that an animal is coming from a slaughterhouse, just leave it. And if you're in a place where a lot of rituals happen and a lot of animal sacrifices, you could find yourself buying chicken that has been offered to a witch doctor. Then the witch doctor has too many chickens, and next thing you know, they ship the offering chicken to the nearest butcher, and you're there buying things that have been already given bad energy. You know, some of these things are the bad energy that's on the giver is transferred to them, so that they can be cleaned. I don't know, but just be careful. I came to learn the importance of staying away from meats that have been offered to idols, because sometimes it's like for the people who use weaves, natural hair weaves that are coming from India. You see, in the Indian society, hair is something that they don't freely just cut hair. But when a woman or a person has had problems for many years, or for a considerable time of time, and they want to get rid of the problems, they get to a temple, and a very specific temple where they offer their hair. First of all, the person, or they're called the priests at the temple, will transfer all their problems to the hair that they're wearing, after which the head is shaved. The transfer of the problems to the hair is something that I've learned recently, but I know that hair is offered. I've heard of it. I haven't verified, but so I've seen it actually in videos. The ladies offering hair, and they're shaved to this kind of closeness to the skin, and the hair is left at the temple as an offering. And what the priests will do is that they will sell the hair to factories which manufacture human hair or weaves or attachments. So when you live close to communities which either practice too much of dark magic, or who practice religions which allow them to delve into these other witchcrafty things and genies and all these kinds of things, beware of the kinds of meats that you're buying from the butcheries. Now pay attention to this one. This is about the spiritual principalities that rule over this land. So the queen, we have a queen, if you didn't know or had. The queen was almost dying, and succession politics started. She was put in a kind of a trance or a dream as part of the process, which was to create a narrative that would help her process. After some time, or after some point in this state that she was in, remember she was dying, but to slow down the process, they put her in some kind of a trance. So after some point, we thought that she had jumped off the balcony, or somebody started that narrative that, you know, she jumped the balcony. And people in the palace, which was a huge building, very long building, the people in the palace went over to see from the inside to confirm, did the queen really jump? She was woken up by somebody from the fall. No, now after somebody went and woke the queen up, she gave the queen instructions, new instructions concerning how she was going to behave in the next few moments. And this person that was giving her instructions, I could feel that his energy, he did not have good intentions. So because of this instruction from this new evil person, this queen was going to turn aggressive, especially towards the people who are potential successors of her throne. So this new person that came into the picture was going to weaponize this queen so that he could get rid of his own enemies. The new person wanted control. So something that I've noticed about our country is that we're not at rest, spiritually speaking. It's been, there's a bit of, I'd say, struggle for power, or let's call it struggle for power in our principalities. There's no peace in our principalities, basically. I didn't want to say this publicly, but I think with what's happening right now in Kenya, and this I don't think has been revealed, has not yet become apparent to everybody, but our current president is surrounded, or I don't know if you guys are fans of what is this Marvel Universe productions, but there's one of their productions in which the star of the show creates, or a variant of the star of the show creates takes an action which creates what they're calling incursion, and how they described or how they painted the incursion was the entire sky becoming purple and becoming like you're inside a thing, an enclosure, only that it's as big as the earth, covers the entire earth. So on this blue thing that had appeared, that was like a thick cloud that covering the place, there was little cracks or little lights that were referred to as the incursion. It was like something was trying to break through with a different color, but it was just streaks, and that was the beginning of what they call incursion. And in my vision, that's exactly what I saw. I saw a dark sky, purplish sky covering the entire area, and our president was standing in the middle. And he didn't know who was on his side. It wasn't very clear, because their actions were actually not trustful, the things that we were doing. But basically, this is the point that you're heading to, that we'll reach a point where he'll be standing alone and wondering if he can really contain the kind of opposition and that he's getting, not from outsiders, but from the inside. So yeah. So this was another lesson that I got during this time, and this is about what we call the 1%er, or the 1% of the 1% who really rule over the world. Okay, it's good that you've acknowledged that you're saying that there's a kind of a power that's coming from this kind of people. And the advice I got from this was to follow what they were doing, study. If, for example, a person is offering some kind of an education on this kind of their system or their plans, follow these kinds of things that they're doing, so that you can be on the know, so that you don't get caught flat-footed, and so that you can know the reason why things are happening. For example, what happened in the last few years was something that had been discussed for years, for decades, in fact, literally decades. So it's good to inform yourself, and in as much as you want to say that these people are this kind of people, so we don't want anything to do with that, you end up losing when you keep yourself isolated from the information that is coming from the people who are actually making policies and engineering laws that are being offered in exchange for various goodies that these people are known to wield. And of course, during this season, I got an update of the meteors or asteroids that a lot of people are talking about, and that I began talking about a few years ago. So on this dream, I was on a boat. The sky had changed. So this time, I took a phone to record what I was seeing in the sky, because I felt the urgency to keep a record of it. Now, the meteors in this current vision that I'm talking about, they had reached a closer distance than the last time that I had seen it. They had a different look, and I've already posted a video on this, on what I saw and the warning of it. In the first one I had said, I believe I titled the video "Confirmation of Prophecy" or "On Meteors," something like that. So this time, the sky they inhabited was closer to the earth. The air that they were stroking was electrified. That the streaks of the current that was caused by this crisscrossing of the asteroids were visible to my eyes, actually visible. So I took my phone to record. Then I saw a boat. Okay. Yes. So at the same time, there was a spirit or two that were angry with the fact that I was recording, and tried to stop me from doing it. But so basically, it was more of apprehension, something of the sort. So this, by the way, I'm in the month of October, and this is in reference to arrows. By the way, as I had earlier stated, there are people who have just made it their mission in life to become spiritual enemies to my soul, and I see you coming. And I'm not shaken, because I know your end. I know your end from the beginning. There's a word that is established in the heavens that will be fulfilled for you. So that's why I'm not worried, because I know how this is going to be. I know the beginning, the end from the beginning. So I'm not worried about you, my enemies. Those of you hiding and throwing arrows in the darkness, I can see you very well. Those of you who are hiding serpents below the ground where I tread on, I see you and I acknowledge you. And I'm leaving you to the grace, the same grace that has established me, is enough to keep me even in the face of your adversity. Be cognizant of the laws of planting and harvesting, and of giving and of receiving. That's how easy it is for you to destroy yourself, because you're giving something that you're not prepared to receive. You're planting something that you do not want to harvest. And you're hoping that somehow the world or the heavens will not see you. I assure you that my heavens and your heavens In fact, some of these things are so so careless that even your own guardian spirits, the angels that God has put to teach you and to guide you, will rise against you, just to help you along with learning what you need to learn. So, so that's that about all of you who have made yourself and have given yourself into the mission to attack, and you've turned yourselves into arrows in the night and serpents hiding beneath the grass. I acknowledge your presence, and I see you coming, and I'm waiting for you to see what will come of you in the end. You will not plant thorns and harvest strawberries. You will not give one thing and expect another to give. That's the law of the universe. It's supposed to teach you something about how you can be able to, you know, when they're teaching about workplace and the kind of things that, or the dynamics that happen in a workplace, one of the things that they say is that it's usually the people who are the most, so basically what I'm saying is harvest according to your seed, receive according to your giving. And that's all that I need to speak. So once again, throughout this season, I see the rise of various kinds of spiritual powers, which come almost every month. There was a power that became strong in a certain area, and then you would see even within the same month another power becoming strong. So I'd say that we are in a season where various principalities and powers are all functioning at the same time. Like there's a conjunction of intent of most of the heavenly powers. That's the easiest way that I see it. Speaking of powers, this is a major one that whose principality is of higher level than most of the rulers that have not really okay. It's principality level kind of rulership. So I'm going to narrate it, and I have a video of this, but I must have called, don't remember now, but I was speaking about aliens or spirits that were there in the past coming back. So this is how I write that there had been a warning by the ruling powers of incoming alien beings. These beings will come using wavelengths as their paths, wavelengths of that were being emitted by satellites. They looked like satellite dishes, those used for space exploration. Like they had pathways that were identifiable by these spiritual beings. Spiritual and physical at the same time. It's like their existence is somewhere in the middle. Because okay, let me not interject with my own opinion. So I continue. The people did not believe or did not understand, and mostly ignored the words of the physical rulers that are in the world right now. I was seeing it as our current presidential kind of rulers. So the people did not believe, they did not understand, and mostly ignored their words and messages, though they published in various ways, including hidden artistic impressions and theories of such like beings. And isn't it true for all the alien things that we've been learning about through movies and all kinds of artistics and photos and all kinds of theories? So somebody had a kind of a photo which was very old. It had it looked like a picture of an ancient architecture on a mountain, and it was created in the shape, or to create the impression that it was an entranceway to an ancient site that had ceased being inhabited. The doorposts were like those of ancient civilizations. It had rounded pillars. The pillar with a triangular shape above it, sitting on top of the pillars. It seemed to be an entranceway into the side of a mountain. It seemed abandoned and old, like really, really, really old. And I'm talking about previous civilizations kind of old, not the 1800s or the 1600s kind of old, or the 18s. But the place had been showed in government's videos and photos of the warnings that I spoke about earlier. And this place will become their headquarters. Remember, it was sealed. Humans could not access it, but they could. They would rule from that place and they would gather in that place. The understanding was also that the government that had been using this site and image as a mystery place of society, and by society I mean the secret society and cult kind of things, a society kind of gathering in an effort to sensitize the populace of things that were coming. So as this dream was going on, these creatures started streaming in through the wavelengths. They started going directly to this place and entering. So they were, like my previous description, they were like spiritual beings, but they seemed actually tangible. So they started going into this place. So I wrote in description that they were shadowing and not like humans, or first of all in terms of their being, the fact that they didn't have our flesh. They were shadowy. They were longer or taller than humans, like a few feet taller than humans, like 4 or 5 feet taller. And I could sense that they had power. They had supernatural abilities. I could sense their energy. And they glide through the air from outer space. And their presence brought apprehension on the earth. So basically, this is the takeout. There's a new power in town. It's an ancient power. It's some kind of an invasion or not, because they're coming to take over power from the rulers of the earth. The physical, from the men, power has transferred to these beings. So the temple, this is what I described. I wrote about this description of the temple, or that door that was on that mountain. Apparently it was a temple. So the symbol of the door was not clear. There was a symbol in the door, in the rectangular. And it had some intricate carvings in it that seemed to combine more than one living being or item, like they look in excavated temples. I don't remember the details. So this is going to be the first part, and it covers the period from August, September, October, 3 months. I'm going to end it here, and I'll come back with the second part for the remaining of the term. In the meantime, because the video is already 1 hour, I'm going to put it on a fast track it during the editing so that it's shorter, and so that we can go through, it can be fast pitched. But otherwise, let's see you on part 2.